Maneva na sema PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV de osia dem yopo.
Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo is one of the individuals who appended their signature to the foundation document to give birth to the new Patriotic Party. You know, we know that he's one of the key statesmen of our country. Alfred Thompson, what do you say?
It's like you've given Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo about 30 minutes of talk. I can't respond to most of the things he said. One of the key things that he mentioned, which I respond to, is about, he talked about some 500,000 that has been given to an individual to go and vote. I wish he could have mentioned the individual and who gave the person 500,000, because you see some of these key things, when it comes from statesmen like him, we expect to get some at least some proof or something to show. It's not oh yes say mate or something. I don't like those things. It doesn't help for our growth and our democracy. And my brother also said a lot of things. If I'm to respond to that, I don't think we're going to close soon. I don't think we are going to close soon. But what I'll say is that as a party, we are very focused. We know what we want. The people, I'm glad you yourself have stated categorically that the grassroots want Dr. Bawumia. It's not as if he's forcing himself on the grassroots. He's a humble person. He comes out to everybody. He talks to everybody. He has time for everybody. He has a listening ear. And those are the things people want to see and feel. They want to feel part of you. Yesterday in, Elmina, when you came to see around there, you realized the way he was associated with everybody.
Who was associated?
Doctor. With all the fishermen over there.
Tamaklo.
No, Dr. Bawumia.
Okay.
Dr. Bawumia, everybody, the fishermen, wanted to see him. They were praising him for this initiative that he's brought. Because every government after government in this Fourth Republic, we're having issues with this Premix fuel that we are selling. People, they're stealing, you delved into so many things, don't go there.
Please go ahead.
They're stealing, the corruption that was engulfing this Premix. Previous administration, current administration, everything. We are trying to fix it over and over again. But it took him, and Honorable Mavis Habakumsen, solid woman, solid personality, and you realize that they sat at cabinet. They were saying it. They were sitting at cabinet. Doctor told them that, listen, we need to work the same thing that is happening now. We need to work on this Premix for this to be solved once and for all. And it went the automation way. The fishermen are praising it. You need 2 cards to operate. The operator himself and the fisherman who has been registered and has a card. Because the Aboboyas were using it, the chainsaw operators were using the Premix, the all these tricycles were using the Premix. So you realize that all this things, that subsidies that were being put on the Premix that should have gone for the fishing so that we get fish enough during the harvest time were not coming in because it was being diverted. It didn't even get to the destination for you to sell it. So every time there was shortage of Premix. But today, there's a tracker. Right from the depot, you go and drop, you pick your money up. So the amount you pick from the depot to where you go and drop it is the total amount that you get, because you have the quantity measured, automated. Then when you drop it at the point of sale, the people there, before you, the operator, can disburse the fuel, you use your card, swipe it on the machine, then the fisherman who is come to buy, who has been registered, will also use his card. So it's not as if maybe some operator somewhere will come and buy this Premix and see how he's working around it. It's a machine that is going to stop corruption. And that is how Dr. Bawumia has always been talking about stopping corruption. Not repeating the same old things and expecting new results. But bringing
he's been a vice president for 7 years.
But it doesn't take one day. It doesn't take one day to build this. It took a lot of time to put every necessary machine in place. That is why I'm telling you that from the point of picking the Premix fuel to the distribution point to the last person buying it, it's calculated and it's well automated.
If you carefully analyze the statement coming from the Alan Chamantenkamp,
yeah, let me just say again, I'll come to that statement.
How did we get here as a party in the first place? He seems to create a certain position and
let
mentality.
me just land on this one.
That the president and the vice president have created a siege mentality and hold on the party.
Let me just end on that. This what you call Premix thing. No. I just ended it today.
You are diverting, please.
I'm not diverting. It's about corruption in the country. It's about how we tackle corruption, and it's about how we put things well. My brother, when you go that way, when you are talking, I also talk.
Okay. No, please.
Thank you. So let us see that this is someone who has come and is tackling corruption. It's part of his job, and that is what he's doing. And he's bringing in innovative way, digitalizing things so that you don't have that chance of stealing and bringing all this kululu into the premix situation. On the Alan Chairman's
siege mentality.
Listen, let me tell you something.
Taking
There is
hold of the party.
nobody who will go for an election and lose and tell you that, oh, I have done introspect and I have realized that I didn't do my homework well, and that's why I've lost an election. You always look for someone to blame. You always look for, and that is why we always keep on saying, as a good politician, when you go for an election and you lose, just relax, don't talk. Because there's no way I'll come and stand here. When I went for my chairmanship election, I won't come out and come and say that, oh, I lost because I didn't have A, B, C, D, or I didn't do this A, B, C, D groundwork. Because it takes groundwork to build and build. You build a grassroots base by getting the polling station executives in. The polling station executives will now vote for the constituency executives. And the constituency executives will come and vote for you, the regional chairman. So if you don't do that work before getting there, and you go and blame a current regional chairman who has done the base well and has built upon it, and I'll say that, oh, it's corruption, they give money, they give
so you're saying the basis for
and everything.
The president and then Dr. Baumia.
I'm not saying the basis for the president and Dr. Baumia. I'm saying that if you do your homework well, you build the base to the top, because you are allowing people to go and vote for you. Those who are going to vote for you are people who are going to work down there for you. If you get about 68%, almost 70% of the people who are going to work down there for you saying that, listen, it's you I support, and so at the end of it all, this is the line we are towing, you should know that you have a higher chance of winning the next elections, because it's not about the person who has just about 10%. So let us put all these cracks in and blame here, blame there. Every election that has been held in this country, from MPP when we started to NDC when they lost, we always blame who? EC, don't we? And EC keeps on telling us one thing, that elections are won at the polling station. Let us go to the polling station and go and work and win elections. If you've lost elections, put everything aside. Come together as one unified force. I don't think Dr. Nyamu Tamrakulu did that very good by saying that he should go for independent. A true MPP card-bearing member, a true person who is a patriot of this party and a patriot of this country and sees the future in this country and wants to leave a legacy for this country, will not advise someone to go independent. Yes, it could be good for the NDC people. Yes, it could be nice for them because they would enjoy from it, from the goodies that, oh, there's division and there's crack in the MPP. But if you want the welfare and the well-being of each and every youth and individual in this country, you have to think together, work together, and win together. That's what
he agrees there are cracks.
Yeah, you see, most of what I said has been validated by Dr. Nyaho, so I wouldn't want to belabor the point. But essentially, what is happening in the MPP now suggests one thing, that the whole system has been rigged in favor of Dr. Baumia. It is President Akufo-Addo seeking a third term through Dr. Baumia. You know, Baumia has no political footprint in the MPP. He's riding on the shoulders of President Akufo-Addo. And Akufo-Addo and the Achem cabal, having realized they have mismanaged this country, they have been so reckless, they have embarked on the systematic looting of state resources and wanting to escape accountability, want to foist Baumia on Ghanaians, and in so doing, they are going about it very undemocratically and all of that. And I think
you are worried about
some of the third paragraph in Alan's statement is very telling. He says the MPP is on the path towards self-destruction. And from coming from a political stalwart like Alan, and Alan naturally is seen as that gentle kind of politician who usually do not engage in these kind of political salvos. So for him to have said this gives the indication that there is real fire on the mountain. And on the issue of the whole system being rigged in favor of one particular candidate, Not long ago, Boabia Samoa, who was the spokesperson for the Allen campaign, came out openly to tell Ghanaians that resources that are supposed to be used by the state, particularly farm inputs that are supposed to be given to farmers, have been given to Dr. Baumia, ostensibly to give him a head start over all other candidates. Not long ago, the bosom friend of the president, Dr. Akutu.
Where did Alan say that?
Dr. Akutu, please, when I was here when we were talking, if you allow me.
You also
Dr. Akutu
me.
said,
So if you are stating something
contractors
like this,
who are seen as not supporting the establishment candidate are not being paid. Now we come to the issue of monocracy. Somebody pays $5,000 as alleged by a spokesperson of one of the main contenders, and Mr. Thompson, you said that is TNT. Where was that person coming from?
$5,000.
Hussein Doye alleged that
alleged.
Please, if you allow me, Mr. Thompson, let's have a decent discussion.
Please,
Hussein Doye it's a major.
This is a public information that he said.
Was a focal person in Alan's campaign. He said after the chief of staff had come to vote, he went to the women's organizer's office and were sharing $5,000. But you people go around telling Ghanaians there is no money. Kennedy Japan's camp also alleged at a certain point that Dr. Baumia has canned people at another hotel in Kumasi and they were paying 50,000 Ghana cedis to the constituency chairman who had come to vote. You see, you tell us that we have no money, therefore we have to go to IMF. Therefore, we have some people would have to endure this haircut that your government has brought upon us. Yet, when anytime MPP is going on a political adventure, you see a lot of monies being splashed around. So, Roland, like I said, the whole thing is an Akufo-Addo agenda, but we in the NDC are unperturbed because we know that none of the aspirants in the MPP can match President John Dramani Mahama in the 2024 election. And like I said, NDC will win the 2024 election on the basis of the soundness of its policy and the credibility and competence of its leader, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. On this note, I would like to call on Ghanaians to join His Excellency John Dramani Mahama this morning as he does a Facebook Live in which he seeks to engage a section of the Ghanaian society to get to know and understand how understand what they feel about the governance system as it is now. But you see,
you don't know what is discussing.
The MPP haven't realized Dr. Baumia has failed on the economic front, want to credit him with something that he has no hand in. That is the digitalization agenda. You know,
of
the fiber optic backbone. The fiber optic backbone on which this whole digitalization agenda is premised upon was started by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Right or wrong, Roland? The Accra Digital Center, which is a major infrastructure in this whole digitalization thing, was started by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Tell us what Dr. Baumia has done beyond the lip.
Allow him. You're disrupting him.
When he's putting his force,
I'm saying you ask him questions. Tell us what Dr. Baumia has done beyond the paying of the mere lip service to this digitalization agenda. Dr. Baumia, what brought Dr. Baumia, what precipitated Baumia onto the political scene was his so-called economic prowess. What are the economic indicators now? Inflation is almost 45%. Inflation is almost 45%. Debt to GDP ratio is almost 100%. Ghana is on the verge of economic demise. And now, having realized you have performed so abysmally as an head of the economic management team, you want to claim credit for things you did not do. So, like I said, the NDC, we are not perturbed. We will not gloat over what is happening Mr. Thompson.
Can I read? Are you done?
Yes,
are you done?
I'm rounding up. We will not gloat over what is happening in the MPP. We are putting our house in order to put ourselves as the net credible alternative so that the good people of Ghana will entrust
Okay.
the mantle of leadership
All
into
right.
the hands of the NDC.
All right. I'll go to Mr. Abrampa Mensah for some wrap-up comments as well. But let me just read a couple of also your messages coming in, because this has been a long one. Now, it says, I say on authority, and this one is coming from Nana Ayimedu, who is giving us this message from Jubilee House Communications. It says, I say on authority, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo was not part of the founding fathers, per the definition of signing members at formation. He has been a leading member in the past, that is, during the Kufuor era.
Thank you.
It is erroneous to give him the founding member accolade on that definition. And then he also says, please correct Abbas. William Oforiatta is not the father of...
Jones Oforiatta.
Yeah, I think we all know that William Oforiatta is not. Okay, so... And then we have a couple of more messages, so we'll take them, and then if Mr. Abrampa is ready.
So you give me a round.
Okay, so Mr. Abrampa is ready. Now, Mr. Abrampa, if you take a look at some of the concerns that have been raised by Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, should we take them in as considerate or as key concerns that should be taken note of by the leadership of the MPP going into the contest on November 4?
Roland, you need even not ask me, because I hinted in my introductory remarks that intra-party contests in every political party since we entered into the Fourth Republic has been a make or break contest. And when you cast your minds back in all the political parties, including the two leading political parties, their history of intra-party contest, what led to Francis Assem defecting to join the MPP, the MPP, the gun contest. So including even parliamentary primaries. You ask yourself what happened at Showman, that NDC candidate will have to go independent, Shaba will have to go independent, own your eyes, so many things. So when you're a political party member, executive, and you are tasked with a duty of being on the committee that organizes intra-party contests, you must be very careful how you coordinate activities, how you build peace, how you enforce principles and regulations, so that you don't experience any post-elections problems. That's exactly what is happening now. So when you read the statements, when you listen to the even pre-contest monitoring of the radio, you saw that so many things were going on wrong. And my bit is that I did not see any action from the committee tasked to manage the elections. So I am not surprised that Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo is saying this and connecting it to historical precedents as to what has happened in the MPP previously. But if you ask me, I will not buy into his recommendation for any of the other candidates standing as an independent. One, the history will tell us that no independent candidate will have the chance to win elections in this country. So if you're truly a party member that has a party at heart, the problems that happened, which I'll say generally happens in all elections, even though have not been well with you, does not necessitate you defecting to form your political party. What that action will seek to do is totally disintegrate the front of the MPP and pave way for its opponents. And we have history to guide us. We can go through it to see it. So that's my bit for now. But I mean, as I said from the beginning, the whole bit of finding whoever leads the MPP is to find a credible candidate, united by all the candidates to fight the final fight, which is the December 7th, 2024 elections. And therefore, it's because on the management of the MPP, the executive, the council of elders, everybody, to start the unity talk from now. Alan has not come up with final decision. It will be better he doesn't come out before they approach him. I expect them to do their background talks from now to make sure that whatever the cracks are, they are able to mend it. towards the unity of the party and towards the 2024 election. Any attempt of a breakaway, even a single of them, have
ramifications
on their fortunes.
Well, so your concluding remarks then?
Yeah.
I conclude by saying that I'm not happy as an election observer with how the MPP elections management body has handled the processes for now, including them not even initiating any action to assure the candidates of their preparedness to deal with the infractions that happened in the election going into the final one. That has culminated in some of them withdrawing their candidacy because there are no assurances. I'm not also happy that as at now, I don't know what things are happening underground. As at now, we have not heard any responses from what Alan Martin started saying, including showing pictures of the people who were attacked when he visited them in the hospital. I mean, only for me to say that they are normal in elections. I mean, this can't be normal in everyday normal things that we see.
Okay.
The party will have to sit up and have to show concerns when some of these things happen. And if they really want to talk of unity going forward, these are some of the things that they need to handle.
Mr. Abrabo, thank you very much. You're always a great resource person, and I know that your technical abilities, having worked in the sector or the governance space, has come in handy. Now, your conclusive remark.
Yeah,
I just give you 3 minutes.
I believe that, yeah, he has some points that are well noted. Within the party, the framework of the party, I know from time to time, candidates and their representatives are called and they are talked to, they are briefed on certain things that are going on. Internal, you know that some of the, I think about 4 or 5 people were called to the disciplinary committee to answer questions that they felt were untoward towards what happened in the last elections. It's a sign of putting checks and balances in place. It's not everything that you come out and you say it openly that we've taken this action or that action or that action. But definitely once they've come out with certain actions, people will hear about it. But on the whole, as he said, I mean, there's no candidate who will go independent and would even get 1% of the vote. Indom did all he could, but he couldn't get even up to 1% of the vote when he went independent and started his own party. It took him years, and look at where it is now. We don't even know whether the party is still in existence or not. So I would advise, yeah, there are challenges in everything that you do. It's just like a normal life. And I say that in governance and everything, there are challenges. But the way you handle it and how you manage it and come out, it's what makes you a tall man, or it makes you stand out tall and show that, yes, I've been able to shoulder, I've been able to manage and come out as a stronger force than before. Sometimes you are not born as the only person to lead the country, but maybe some of your actions would help shaping the future of the party. And these are the things we need. You've brought out your infractions. It may be genuine, it may be to someone else, it may not be genuine. But you've brought it out, we look at it together, we work on it together, and we stay in together, and we correct the measures that should be put in place. Dr. Bawumia, fantastic gentleman, lovely man, liked by all. When he comes here and he sits and he chats with you, and he tells you and he shows you some of the things that are going on, you realize that this is someone who we need to take in as a leader. He's shown. He doesn't just talk it, he walks his talk. He's shown how to fight some of these corrupt practices going on. And I showed you one that vehemently was given out yesterday by everybody to see. So at the end of it all, we believe in building party unity. We believe we should work together. We have open arms. Those who are my friends, I've called them over to come into the Bawumia team. Let us work together. I even told you some that, listen, there are people we've spoken to come on board so that we work together and build the party. It's a party we are building. And we are varied individuals coming from various backgrounds. We can all not be the same. But we come together, and the way we manage each other is how we show Ghanaians that we can make it together. And I believe in the unity of the party. Thank you.
Since you're in this, I give you only 2 minutes. Wrap up for
you. See, recent happenings. Recent happenings in the MPP points to one thing, that their political brand is so damaged, is so muddied, is so dirtied, to follow the words of Mustafa Hamid. He said that I don't see how it can be cleaned and presented to Ghanaians as a credible political force in 2024. And for Dr. Bawumia, I think
writers should come into our fray and let's all work together, because we have a bigger task ahead of us. is not just about the internal elections, but about the external elections and about how we can put the party at the front where Ghanaians will accept and vote for us based on the jobs and the productivity we've given out in the 8 years of our reign and the 8 years before that by the Kufuor administration. So they'll look at our performance and vote for us. So we all have to come together and work as a united force. So the arms have been opened, calls are being made, and I use this medium to invite everyone. Let's put our issues aside. Come on board, yes. Come and mention some of the things that are disturbing you. Where there should be apologies, the apologies will be given. Where there should be reconciliation, reconciliations will be made. But the most important thing is that we come together as a united force, as the NPP party we know, and that is what we need. So any good intended person who wants to see our party on board, we call on them to come together, so we work together for the good of this party. As a candidate, I have been a candidate before, and I went for elections recently, the regional elections. And to tell you the truth, if you listen wholeheartedly to what delegates tell you, you will behave exactly like what has happened.
Meaning what?
Because they will tell you all sorts of things. They'll tell you all sorts of things just to make you happy and believe that you are going to win, and you will win convincingly. So when results come this way and you get this vote, you sit back and ask yourself, is it that what the people were saying were true? Oh, they can even tell you that, oh, this person has even called me right now. That person has called me that, oh, we should, we should just... There are so many things that go on behind closed doors.
We'll see how that goes. Now, let's speak to Mr. Abraham Mensah of CDD Ghana. He's the programs manager. Indeed, well, I've interacted with him over the years. He has to take over a decade, almost a half. He's well versed in the politics at the local government level, and also tends to pick the perception as to what people think about the governance structure. Now, Mr. Abraham Mensah, for example, on our stream, there's William Kwabnabichi, who says I should ask Mr. Alfred Thompson whether the MPP is deliberately imposing Baumia on the delegates, when indeed, perhaps maybe they want Alan Chermanting or Kenny Japon, etc. Based on the sentiments that you pick, and then also how you have observed the behavior of the party and its elders up to today, would you say there's that sense of feeling among the rank and file of the party?
Thank you very much, Roland. And as you said, anytime we discuss intra-party contests, I term it as a institutional crossroads. So it's a period that unites or disintegrates any particular institution, not only the MPP. Whether it's the constituency contest, whether it's a parliamentary contest, whether it's a national contest, as we just had. So it is a period that you expect the internal structures, internal mechanisms, including the guiding principles and legal frameworks to actually work. And you expect the national executive to uphold whatever principles there are to high esteem. So I spoke to you when the General Secretary, the lawyer, made the announcement to open for nominations. And he added that they wouldn't tolerate any of the executives and high-profile members to take sides. He expects them to be neutral and support all candidates so that the post-primaries will not be difficult for unity talks. And I congratulated him for that and cited examples of what happened during the previous administration, and especially cited my brother in Kumasi, even to me, for his actions and inactions, and even went ahead to compare voter turnouts for what happened when President Kufuor was going out and what happened in the last elections and what is expected to happen, because this is the time, a period that every political party who has served its 8 years faces the most difficult task of maintaining the seats. So I did all calculations and said that singular speech he added when he was announcing the opening of nominations to me was very perfect. But I added that I was expecting the executives to follow up, to advise in any actions against what had been stated. But that's not what we saw. We saw across the regions open supports and biases. We saw across the region statements that such portrayed. I even monitored few radio programs that commentary from some of the party communicators sort of suggest that the Flagstaff House entirely was in support of one candidate. When you make such things, you are trying to say that we've pre-picked our candidates. All of you coming are useless. So any slip or mistake that comes up, it buttresses already perception of the biases against specific candidates. So, for instance, the brutalities meted against some few supporters, including one person who is in the camp of Mr. Alancho Martin, could be used to serve as a buttressing point for what already is in the public domain, whether alleged or real. But the statements and behavior of certain leadership of the party also support some of these things. So that is the problem that we have. I did not read in any part of Alan's statement yesterday of his next step, but I pray the attempt he made, I think in 2007 or so, that he nearly withdrew from the MPP does not come up. And because don't forget, in Ghana here, we have had elections that a party has led or won with just around 40,000 votes. And seeing the caliber of the people in the contest, each of them will command in national sense more than 50,000 supporters. So we need, and the MPP needs every member to be part of the campaign. So that's my initial comments. But let me say that intra-party contest, especially the contest to elect a flag bearer at a period that the party has ended its 8 years and trying to renew its mandate, is the most difficult period for every political party, which needs to be managed and managed well.
Well, Abbas Noridi, now I'll bring you in because we had been saying they had
People were there. Other people would see things. I have never, and I always state, you know, sometimes when you go out there, the moment you get down, yesterday I was in Central Region for the launch of the, what do you call it, the automated Premix 4 machine, which is supposed to help cut down on certain corruption going on within the Premix selling and everything. I'm sure I'll have 5 minutes to talk about that before.
No, you will. Okay, that'll be later.
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Exhaust the issue for me
before we finish the segment. That's what I'm. Oh, you can give me 5 minutes to talk about that.
I can't give you. Please exhaust my issue for me.
So coming back to the
was
point.
lying.
Coming back to the point. What I'm stating is that people should sit down and ask themselves that I go to a center. Someone comes to see me. Oh, hey, today I've seen you. Oh, you have to give me transport to go. People do that all the time. When Dean is here, he will tell you as a destined. He goes to centers and people will see you. Oh, honorable, today, dear, because of you have to get transport and go home. If you are not careful, sometimes you feel that, oh, out of goodwill, you are giving someone something. Someone say, hey, or Jessica. They'll just come and say that, or Jessica, to go and vote for someone else because they know where your allegiance is. I wasn't at the national headquarters. I didn't go there. I was here with Alfred. And on no occasion, apart from what Hobson said, on no occasion did I hear any other candidate, any of the other 9 candidates, agents, stating categorically that they saw that they were sharing money, apart from Hobson. And I don't see that the chief of staff will go and cast a vote and be sharing money there to people that go and vote for this candidate or go and vote for that candidate. If she has a preference, I'm sure definitely, and she has friends in, she would have called them maybe sometime before that, oh, maybe it's a way, or if you vote for this person, is good. And that is her preference. And seriously speaking, the people can decide to vote for the person or not to vote for the person. You go to the booth alone and you vote alone. If you do your homework well, if you do your groundwork well, it's not about money sharing. Money giving transport, every political party, every candidate gives money for transport, TNT. Every person will tell you that, whether you see it as TNT or whatever it is. I have never seen in this Fourth Republic. You remember that even when the Fourth Republic started, they were sharing things like Bintua and other things to people to go and vote. But those are things that people are giving out. So I haven't seen in any elections where nobody has said that, listen, personally, I haven't given anything before. Recently,
so you're saying that it is normal. You're just affirming what
I'm saying that political parties and elections, every time people give out something, some goodies.
Giving them money is normal.
Some goodies. I'm not saying that is the right thing. I'm saying that they give out goodies. Ever since the Fourth Republic started. Unless maybe you were someone who was just born yesterday. But from election, right from Jerry John Wạrns when he started to date, every time goodies have been given out. And I stated in those times, it wasn't even just money. They were giving out some places. If you remember, Mami Doko came out and said, "You got chair being to Amponi idea for people to vote for JJ Rawlings at that time."
I see.
It happened.
It's quite revealing.
It hasn't changed. So we have to sit down as a country and say that, listen, how can we veer off some of these things? And you see, that is why we have someone who is always talking about digitalizing. It helps that human interface to go off. It helps that day where people will not even come there to come and vote.
I see.
But they can stay somewhere else and cast their vote. They don't need to travel down and vote. Because people flew, over 80 people flew all across the globe to come and vote.
Yeah, sure.
And people met them.
Okay.
People had meetings. As late as 1 a.m., people were meeting, what do you call them? The diasporans. Having dinners with them, having parties with them, talking to them, convincing them that, listen, in the morning when you go and vote for me.
Because lobbying is accepted. Other one, we don't generally know democracy.
It happens.
Now, Mr. Abraham-Pamensa, before I bring you in, I want to again posit this question on this concern that was raised on the day by Yawabin Asamoah, who will be joining us very soon. Now, if we have that inside of Yawabin Asamoah, let's play it and then try to situate it within the decision that has been made by Alan Kwejo Chemanting. Here is Yawabin Asamoah.
No, this is. Let's go.
Yes, I'm saying that we have received reports that in the Northeast, voters were showing their ballots. And when our agent protested, he's been assaulted and is now in the hospital. And therefore, the Alan Chemanting team is going to file for nullification of the Northeast regional vote, the entire vote. If that process is not followed through and the vote in the Northeast is nullified, it will contaminate the entire election results. The rules say that nobody can show a ballot that has been thumbprinted. The ballots they were showing were for the benefit of the vice president. We are assuming that Timbaumia has instructed people to show the ballot as they go along. That is against the rules that we all set for ourselves. And if the rules are being broken with impunity, then we must take punitive action. The party says, the rules say that any ballot that ought not to be in the box is rejected. So if those ballots have gone into the box, the entire box must be rejected.
Now, Mr. Abraham-Pamensa, would you say some of these underlining incidents, well, they also precipitated the decision by Alan Kwejo Chemanting?
Sure. I read fully his statement he issued yesterday, and he catalogued a number of issues right from the petition they made, even though it was not clear in there that they centralized the voting instead of the zonal ones they did. He made mention of behavior of biases from the top membership of the NPP. He made mention of attacks on his candidates, and the particular instance that YB has cited, I think most of the media houses also mentioned it even before the counting started, that some of them, especially leading members of the political party of the NPP, when after voting, openly display their thumb-printed card, or before voting display.
PENDREAM TV now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.